this is your first time watching, my name is Leslie Coleman and I am the host of this square. Now, I apologize if that wasn't the whole square. But anyways, if this is your first time joining, welcome to the Interactive Corner. The segment before this was the Informative Corner, and the whole idea that I have with this is to take a bunch of things that we expose ourselves to daily and talk about how they impact us mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Now, one of the topics that I discussed in the Informative Corner was socializing. And in that video, I basically stated how different social settings ignite different things inside of us, and that causes us to react differently to different situations. But today, I'd like to talk about how our brains associate with certain emotions when our eyes are laid on things. And here to discuss this matter with me, I have fine artist Krista Freeman.
How you doing?
When did you fall in love with art and design?
Probably I want to say probably 2012, 2013. I always loved art. So I can't say that I never had a love for it, but I got a passion for it around then.
Okay. Yeah. Now, what made you want to put it on clothing? Because you will go, you know what? Back up. Go ahead and tell them what you do. Like you do.
Like what I do.
You're an artist, but you also do custom design clothing.
Right. So I like to. That's how I actually started really getting into art more, was by customizing my clothes. And then I realized that other people wanted custom clothes too, and I didn't really think too deeply into it when I first started doing it, because I mainly was doing it just so I could recycle old clothes I had, so just so I could feel like I was making something new.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like I painted in high school my senior year, and my art teacher kept trying to push art on me. But I wasn't really into it. I was more into sports, so I wasn't paying it any attention. And then I went to college for basketball and physical therapy, and I just was not it wasn't as much fun as I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept catching myself drawing in class and stuff like that. So I left. When I got out of school, I just started painting on everything, drawing a lot more, trying a lot more mediums, just started challenging myself artistically. And then just a few years ago, I started trying to learn how to sew and stitch. And so that's when I got more into depth with it, actually creating new fashion pieces that could be considered art too.
That's dope. That's cool. So, when did you start the whole Krista Freehands brand?
So I started calling myself Krista Freehands probably right after I got out of high school, because my friends would always tell me oh, your art's dope. You should put it on the internet. You should get an IG. You should put it on IG. You should put it on Facebook. I'm like, no. I don't want no IG. I really did not like IG,
Mm-hmm.
and it's crazy because I love IG now. But I did not.
Don't we all?
I did not like IG. I wasn't really into Facebook, because growing up I couldn't have social media,
Mm-hmm.
so I was turned off by it. And then I started posting my stuff, sketches and drawings, and people were like, "Ooh, can you draw this for me? Can you draw this? Can you design this? Can you make my tattoo?" So I'm like, oh, okay, people actually like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept doing it, and then that's when I started trying new things. So I probably started calling myself Krista Freehands, I want to say 2012, and then I started actually trying to push myself as a brand probably in 2016.
Okay.
I started actually trying to really take it more serious.
Trying to market yourself and everything.
Definitely. Started learning how to market, how to approach people, how to sell things.
So, would you say that social media has been a huge stepping stone in you putting yourself out there?
Definitely. Honestly, if it wasn't for social media, I probably nobody would know.
Mm-hmm.
I even did. I like to paint, and it's crazy because even in high school, people be like, "I didn't know that you drew. I didn't know that you like to do this." and it's probably because they didn't hang out with me that much because that's all I did. But it's crazy because honestly, if it wasn't for social media, I probably wouldn't. Nobody would know I do. It would be between the people who I'm around the most.
Now, what role do you think that social media has in, I guess, the art industry, design, and fashion industries?
I think it has a big role because a lot of it used to be, if you wanted to find out about like new shoes or new clothes, something like that, you have to like really be looking into that, or you'd have to be reading articles or doing your own research.
That has to be like your niche.
You now it's like you can, like I get on Instagram, Twitter, anything, and I see an ad for like 3 pairs of shoes that's about to drop this month, or like an ad for some clothes that like a collab that's about to happen. They got the app Hypebeast.
Okay.
And that app,
I'm familiar with.
Yeah, that app tells you new music, new clothes, new shoes, like new anything. So I think social media is like is like the main. I think everybody.
It's like a plug.
Yeah,
for real.
it's the main focus for brands for sure, because they know they can reach so many different people and for a lot less effort.
Now, have you ever been inspired by like any movements on social media to do certain pieces?
I honestly,
or media period, not just social media.
I can't say that I have, mainly because so I probably should do this a lot more. I probably would get like a lot more views and a lot more exposure, but I don't really. If I'm not interested in it, I don't even
It's nothing
bother
wrong with
it.
that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like art should be genuine, and I feel like when you look at it, it should be something that the artist is passionate about. Because you guys have heard me say this in one of my previous videos, what your eyes see and what your ears hear, the art, the music that we listen to, the art that we look at, the things that we look at, period, that feeds right into your brain and it feeds right into your soul. So I feel like that's important. You know, if you're not into that, don't even bother with it.
If it's something like a celebrity that I looked up to, or somebody's music I used to listen to, or somebody I feel that inspired me, and they say pass away or their birthday comes up, I might do something for that. Like, but most of the time I have to create off of pure emotion. I can't be, if it's not like hitting me emotionally, it's gonna be hard for me to really make something that I feel is like worthy of being considered art. That's the only thing with me.
So does all of your work, or like most of your paintings, do they serve a sole purpose of making an emotional connection?
Yeah, honestly, probably most of them. If I drew or painted like anything, if you look closely enough to it, at first it catches your eyes because it's bright, it's colorful. But if you start looking into it and you start reading into like the actual illustration, you start to notice like certain things about it that might hit you, like make you connect with it. So I try to make it so that people connect with like what I'm making, like how I might be feeling. I'm trying to see if other people are feeling the same way.
Because art is the connection. It should be an emotional connection.
Yeah.
So are you familiar with how certain colors play tricks on our, not even tricks, but how certain colors ignite emotions?
Yeah. So and that's crazy because I'm really into colors. Like I got into colors in like high school, because at first I used to just use pencil all the time. But then I started painting, and then I started learning how to mix colors. I started like researching the color wheel. So colors plays like on emotions completely. Like the like even in the food service, I was just telling my best friend this like the other day. If you notice, like a lot of places, a lot of fast food places, they got colors like red, yellow, blue, because these colors make you hungry. Like you don't think they do, but when you put them next to each other, you think of food.
And Okay, so I know that red is like of course, the color of fire. It ignites things. It speeds up your metabolism. Yellow is supposed to make you happy.
Yellow makes you happy.
Blue is supposed to like calm you down. It's supposed to be peaceful, right?
Yeah.
And green is like harmonizing, and so it's like I'm looking at one of her paintings right now on the wall, and I'm looking at the green bushes, and they just look very peaceful.
Right.
Yeah. So, do you? Okay,
yeah,
so
I do have this book. I read this book. I like to read this book, and it's called The Secret.
I don't know if they can see it. It's a little glare,
yeah.
but
The Secret.
So you can see her say
it. But this book talks about color, like color plays, like what colors complement each other. Because there's certain colors you shouldn't even put next to each other because it doesn't look like cohesive. It looks bad.
Like blue and brown, I would never wear blue and brown together.
Yeah, like it's like certain stuff. Like for example, like green and red, those are complementary colors. If you put green next to red, in any hue, like you get it in any shade, it's gonna look good next to each other. Or like I think the complement of blue is orange, so I try to keep like cool. It's you always want a cool color next to a warm color. So the warm colors would be considered like yellow, red, orange. Cool colors would be green, blue, purple. So whenever you put like those colors next to each other, it gives like a certain feel. So that taps into emotions too, like where you color placement.
So how do you think that the media plays with our emotions when they use colors? Because when you like on Twitter, how we have the day mode and the night mode,
right.
And even on your phone, how do you think that technology plays a part in this?
Technology definitely plays a part in colors. In fact, that's how we know that's how we know it even is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Advertisement is all about colors and catching your eye and catching your attention. So, and social media does it all the time. I think definitely with Twitter, with the day mode, the night mode, and now they got like the dark night mode or something. I don't know what it's called, but it's like
on the cell phone.
Yeah, and it's so you can make your screen black, blue, like a really dark blue that's almost black, or you can make it white. And so Twitter used to just be all white, but it's crazy because I can't even make my screen like the white anymore. It's like if I do, I can't get on Twitter. And
it's something. It has something to do with what goes on up there.
It's got to, and I think they did that because a lot of people who use Twitter probably have an IG too because they came out around the same time. And I think if you on IG for so long and then you try to go to Twitter, you're gonna leave Twitter because it's just words and it's like white and words. But then IG is like white, but it's a whole bunch of pictures. So I don't know. My eyes used to get tired of being on Twitter for too long,
Mm-hmm.
and then once it got to the night mode, I catch myself on there like way more than I
Mm-hmm.
should. So it's like I think
maybe I might switch it back to the day mode so I can stay off.
No, for real. I need to do that. That's a good idea.
So you said you're on Twitter a lot. So I'm pretty sure you see like a lot of those social experiments where people are comparing one thing to another, and they basically like, hey, choose your favorite, or which one's the best, what do you feel about this, what do you think about this? So what I've been kind of noticing, okay, so like I said, y'all gonna hear me talk about a lot of books and refer to a lot of books. So one of the books that I'm reading is called 3 Magic Words, and it basically talks about how we have prompters in our minds that feed off of our subconscious. Now, when we lay our eyes on things, it automatically, the colors and everything, the pictures, even sounds, when our subconscious, when it experiences that sense, it ties to a memory in our past, basically. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get what
So
you're saying.
anything that we see, it kind of ignites something. It ignites something inside of us to feel something.
That makes
So
sense.
all of the social experiments is going on Twitter, and everything is tied to something. Like even the favorite cereal, it makes you think about your childhood. You get
Right.
nostalgic and you feel this type of way, and it's
Right.
just it's the media just plays with our minds so much, and it's very interesting to think about. It's very interesting that I actually was reading that before this interview, because
Right.
I'm like, dang it, you know what?
And it's crazy because it's like I had went out, I think Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday I went out to Rebar, and DJ Mrs. was DJing, and she was playing like a lot of old Kanye and stuff like that. And it's crazy because immediately when she played it, I started thinking about driving in the car with my mom. She used to play that CD all day.
That's me with Keisha Cole.
Man.
I just get to think about how my mom had a little pink Razor phone,
Man, and then I'm like, my mom ain't even like rap, but she knew this whole CD word for word. So I'm in there like rapping it and singing it. I'm about to call my mom. Like, I'm about to see
it
what
makes
she
you
doing.
it made you experience that nostalgic
Yeah.
feeling, and it made you it's so
They do that.
it's mind blowing. It's
Yeah,
very mind blowing to me.
They do that with everything, especially fashion, because because a lot of fashion I see is they tap in, especially right now they're tapping into 90s, and then they mix it with what's popular now, and it's like I get so excited about it. Like it's like when they do the hybrid shoes, when they remix shoes and make them, you get like one of the ones, and then they just flip it, like they change something little about it to make it like a big deal. It's like they do that with everything.
Nah, that's just, you talking about J's, and you said something else, and that just made me think of the phrase that there is nothing new under the sun.
No.
How they're reinventing fashion, they're reinventing our shoes, our hairstyles, the creative looks and everything. And even to some extent, our memories. Nothing is new under the sun. And I feel like whoever is controlling, the media, whoever is controlling whatever our eyes see, are aware of that. So it's
the rich.
I might have lost
It's
the
the
words
rich
right now.
keeping themselves rich. The rich play off of this by, like, with the ads. Like they know to hit us with certain things at certain times of the year, at certain times of the month. They like, you don't see certain ads at the first of the month. Ain't nobody got money for that.
Like, so, I'm not sure if you guys remember this one story that went viral when there was a little boy who he was getting bullied at school or something, and it went viral. He came home crying to his mom. His mom filmed it, and he, gave a little speech talking about why people shouldn't bully people. But come to find out, his family's racist.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So they played on our emotions with that. They shared the whole video online, the news playing the video, like, we gotta end this bullying crap with all these kids. And it's like, yo, that racist family just played on everybody's emotions. Of course, when it comes to the media, we only see the things that they want us to see.
Yeah.
So his family didn't want us to know that. They just wanted us to feel bad for the boy. So they showed us the sad part. And they ignited, that, this poor, they ignited that in all of us. And, it wasn't true.
Right, even with shooters, like, the most recent shooting, they try to make it seem like he's mentally ill or disturbed. Like, who the fuck ain't depressed or disturbed? Like, everybody got we all going through this thing called life. Everybody got their thing. So to downplay, like, the media downplays certain people's actions, and we already know certain types of people's actions, to make it seem as if they're not the threat. It's okay, he just had a little slip up because he's going through this. Man, everybody goes through things, and it's like they do that so often. Like, it's ridiculous.
So what you saying, how everybody goes through things, the reason, I'm gonna probably make it a point to say this in all of these videos. The whole reason that I'm doing this blog is because we all go through things. I went through things, and I feel like a lot of people out there have, gone through a lot of things that I went through. We are connected. We're shared in that, sort of sense. So I want to be here, for you guys. I want to also be here for myself. I'm glad that, you came to share the knowledge that you had and everything. And I also want to point out, with your talent, because we all go through things, and people like you, people who are artists, I feel like you all have, not a responsibility, but you guys do have the opportunity to uplift people who are going through things. So I want to, just shed light on the positive connections that we can make with people through their art, because there are many people out here who do things like that. A lot of people, they still, get, and there's nothing wrong with being inspired by social media, but a lot of people, they follow the wave. A lot of the things, a lot of the art that people create now, a lot of the music, the fashion, people are just riding the wave. It's not genuine. It's not, it's not done with passion. And because, like I said, like you said, I ain't say that, you said how your art, it's meant to establish an emotional connection with your audience.
I want people to feel something when they look. I don't want them to be like, oh, I saw that. I hate that. Whenever people see my stuff, they always say, I never seen anything like this. Okay, good. I don't want you to, because I'm trying to think of it. Like, don't get me wrong, I get inspired by other artists. Definitely, I do. Like, I have my share
and that's
of people.
The key, though, when it comes to art. You should always inspire someone.
Yeah.
So that's the key.
So I go to the art museum just so I can get inspired from another artist, or just to see, like, even see what colors they use, see what they like, what's their main focus, like what they like to paint or draw the most. I I got into flowers because I started looking into Georgia O'Keeffe, and all she does is,
who is that?
She's a painter.
Okay.
She paints like flowers, and they look amazing, like amazing. So like I love her flowers. So it got me into doing research about flowers and figuring out. I found out that not most, but a lot of flowers have a negative meaning. It's a whole bunch.
Really?
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of flowers you should not give people.
Can you talk about some? Because I had no clue.
So okay, for example, like petunias. I think they're specifically like the lavender ones. Those mean resentment and anger.
Yes. Are those so it's lavender? Is it like the budded flower, the flower with the purple buds?
It's like it's actually on this one. I tried to paint it, but it don't look that good. But so it's
those are so cute.
It's this one.
Those mean resentment?
Yeah, resentment and anger. So if anybody gives you that flower, it's like that basically means that they're angry with you. The orange orchid, I forget what that means, but that means something negative. It's a whole bunch of stuff, like, and then
what about
we think sunflowers mean like happy, or like it doesn't mean anything negative.
Oh, okay.
It means false wealth, because because people, like, when they found sunflowers, they for some reason thought that they were made out of gold because they were so like bright, and vibrant, and how they shined in the light. But when they found out that it was just a normal flower, that's where it got the name, like, false wealth, because you think it's about, like, you think it's gold, and it's really not. Kind of like that, everything that glitters is a gold thing. Daisies actually mean, I think, no, daisies mean like innocence or something.
Oh, because I was about to say, I thought daisies were a good flower.
No, they are. I was about to say they're connected with, they mean what people think sunflowers mean. But this is one flower. I can't remember the name of it. I drew it. I can't remember the name of it.
Is it up here on the wall?
Yeah, it's this one up there. That flower is like, it's like something. Paranoia. Paranoia. That's what it is.
It sounds like it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. it's like made to if you giving somebody that flower, it's because like you don't trust them or you're paranoid about them. So it's crazy. It's a whole bunch of flowers. It's like
That's
it's like
wild.
40 different flowers you shouldn't give people. It's crazy.
Wow, we're gonna have to get deeper into that in part 2 of my nature video. But that's wild. Yeah, you gotta check it out.
All right.
So one thing that I love to ask everyone who comes on the show is, what do you feel like you do for the world?
Honestly, I'm still trying to figure that out myself. I'm trying to. What I want to do for the world is bring like positivity and like encouragement, especially into like our community. And my main focus is to, I don't know, uplift people, because I you know, everybody's going through something. So I feel like what I'm here to do is to make people feel happy or at peace or feel connected to somebody if they feel alone, because I feel like art connects you to people. So I feel like that's what I'm here to do, is just connect everybody, make everybody feel welcome, make everybody feel happy. That seems like what I'm here for.
That's amazing that you can, you know, identify that within yourself. So would you like to go ahead and tell the audience how they can find you?
So my Instagram is Krista Freehands. So that's CHRISTA Freehands. My Twitter is Freehand Chris. But I'm on those two the most, honestly, and I like to post most of my art on Instagram. So, and then I like to chat on Twitter. I talk to everybody on Twitter because Twitter's fun.
Twitter's for that.
Yeah, Twitter is hilarious.
Well, thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge with us. We appreciate it.
Appreciate being here.
And until next time, I'll holla at y'all. Bye.